In previous episodes, you guys have seen me put new wheels and tires and paint them and put new suspension all on my 2008 NC Mazda Miata. But after doing all of that, the only thing I've done with the car is commute to work and back, which seems like a waste, frankly. So here I am at the Wichita SCCA July 5th event. I was up till 1 in the morning last night, and then I'm up at 7 in the morning today to come up here to Yoder, Kansas, and gonna annihilate some cones. So for those of you who don't know what autocross is or how it works, it's pretty much just driving around a bunch of cones in a parking lot, sort of like your driving test, but a lot faster. And there's just a few elements that you've got to process as you're driving around. The most basic one is a pointer cone, like this. You don't actually have to do anything, this just tells you where to look. And it's gonna be pointing at a cone like this, or a set of cones like this, which is one of the most basic elements you have to drive around. All this means is drive on this side of the cone and don't hit this cone. The penalty for hitting a cone is usually 2 seconds, and hitting it is generally defined as making it move outside of its box. They've all got boxes drawn on the ground around them, and if you hit it and it wiggles and it walks its way out of the box, or if you hit it and it falls over, that's a penalty. A lone cone standing up is generally going to be accompanied by another cone some distance away. That's just a gate you gotta drive through. Sometimes they're doubled up. And then if you have something like a pointer cone or a gate followed by single cones in a line, that's a slalom, and you just have to alternate what side you go around them. If there's no pointer cone, usually it's a choose your own adventure, and you have to strategize a little bit what direction is best to enter and exit that section. Of course, these simple building blocks can be made into all kinds of mind-bending shapes, but those are the most important things to look for going around the course. And then of course there's course walks and the parade lap, where you can just kind of figure out the course yourself and attempt to memorize it. But I've got the memory of a goldfish, so that rarely works out.
Some of the nerdier, finer details when setting up your car for autocross are your tire pressures and your alignment, neither of which I've done properly nor really have the ability to do. You want to make sure that your contact patch is maximized, so you want to make sure that you have an alignment more or less specifically for autocross that actually usually involves a pretty significant amount of camber. Usually with Miatas, at least NAs and NBs, the rule is max out your camber and then set everything else from there. I just have whatever junk factory alignment on these RE71Rs, so my contact patch isn't going to be amazing, and it's going to be further not helped by the fact that I forgot to bring a pump and a tire pressure gauge. So that's fun, because what you want to do is you want to make sure that your tires are not bulging out too much, and you want to make sure that they're not rolling too far onto the sidewall. Neither of those is an optimal situation, so usually what people will do when they're really into this is they'll actually have a contact thermometer, and they'll be taking the temperature at 3 points across the tread of the tire. And the way to tell if it's making even contact is for those 3 points to be the same temperature. So they'll play with their tire pressures from there and optimize it throughout the day. Pretty neat, pretty involved, but I'm just gonna run what I brung and see how I do. Classing's another thing, especially if you have a modified car. Classing is going to be a bit confusing at first. The SCCA has some guidelines that are incredibly long. I believe this car is going to fall into STR, so that's what I registered as. It doesn't really matter that much on the local level. I'm not competing for points or anything. I'm not going to be going to nationals or anything like that, so the STR is good enough. If you don't know, ask your local regional executive or SCCA solo chair. STR is known as the S2000 class, and I figured this is probably going to be roughly competitive with an S2000. Don't at me. So that's where I put it. Let's take a look at some of the stuff I'm going to lose to today. I've got tape numbers on my car, so you know it's a real race car. But what's a much cooler race car is this Austin Healey Bug-Eyed Sprite. My mom had a red one of these, I believe. I think it was red. Such neat little cars. I'd absolutely love to do one of these with a Miata 1.6 and transmission with ITBs. In British Racing Green, of course, and the mini lights are fantastic. I think those are mini lights. And then over here we have an MG. This thing's got slicks. This is gonna just annihilate me, of course, but the driver is extremely experienced. This guy, I think he often gets top time of the day in an EF Civic. We've got a NC2, NC3. an NA. This guy is the epitome of driver mod because that is not a very modified NA, and he just cleans up. He's done all the driving schools and stuff. Education is key. Got an NB, nice. C4 cart. This will be interesting if the owner's able to drive it. This should be interesting to see. I'm not sure if they've ever been here before. I haven't been here in forever, so I don't recognize anybody. This is my buddy Jacob's FRS. It's a full SSC build, which is sort of a package deal to modify these cars so that you have a bunch of modified identical FRSs competing against each other. I think even the tire is mandated. Kind of interesting, race car in a box sort of deal. C5, S2000, the cleanest Toyota 11 I've ever seen. Right-hand drive.
Yeah, he is. The last time he was out there last weekend, that was his first autocross.
Even got the custom plate. Custom plate, nice wheels, nicely lowered right-hand drive, A8 611. Rad seats too. Oh, I love this thing. That is super cool. Another NB, another NB, another NB. Then we got a front-wheel drive Beetle. I do love the wheels. They're these alloys that look like steelies. That's pretty cool, honestly. I kind of like some of the stuff that they did with the Beetle. What is this, a second-gen new Beetle? Or just like a, I don't know what you call this. And this is Jay's NC. It's, yeah, it's got Öhlins and the correct wheels and the correct tires and an engine swap. So it should be quick, and he knows how to drive the stupid thing. So, yeah, and then we've got some other stuff. There's a C20 Camaro, Cayman S, Viper RT10, ZL11LE, Camaro, Corvette, Fiesta, Mustang, Focus. There's an AMC Javelin over there. It's super cool. One of those AMG hatchback things with the like 400 horsepower four-cylinder that just makes the best noises. Hi, Tyler. That car doesn't ever see the street. It has like 400 miles on it, and they are all track. That's goals, honestly. Oh, Z06. And an airplane.
This is the parade lap. It's the only time that we're gonna have multiple cars on course at the same time. It's just a slow run through to kind of get a feel for what the course looks like from inside your car. You can see here I'm navigating through these pointer cones. Slalom that starts on the left. Big turnaround here. It's hard to be fast through these big turnarounds because it's difficult to know where the apex is. Looks like the answer was right there. That's just a preparation to figure out a game plan.
First time on the course, so he might do it.
6317 for the other NC. Let's see how I compare to that. Got my AC off, my radio off, and my traction control off. This is gonna be my first autocross of the year, and it's July. Off to a good start. Let's see how these used RE71Rs do. 59.7, I beat the other NC. My power steering hates me. Okay, observations. Power steering, not happy. Other than that, decent run. I definitely could have turned earlier. See how the next one goes. I got slower, not sure why, but my tire wear is looking at least okay. Looks like I'm going a little bit further over the shoulder on this side than I am over here. You can see just how much this does to tire. Yeah, that's actually pretty hot. I think the idea is you want your tires to wear to about here, so I might have a bit too much air in these, but I don't really have the stuff to determine that, so just gonna run it. 60.11. I still can't seem to improve on that first run, and I'm not sure why. I might need to go get some professional help. Found myself an expert. Jacob's gonna ride with me and give some advice. Hopefully I can pick up at least back to where I was originally. Oh, that Sprite looks so happy in my rearview mirror.
He's broke.
He broke?
Got a broken axle up there, I think.
Oh no!
Go up there and bring him back so he can get his truck.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I'll go grab him.
the biggest thing on your time is the sweepers, the big offsets after the turnaround. You're sort of going towards them and then braking at the apex of each.
Yeah.
When what you want to do is, as you exit the turnaround, basically brake like as you're exiting the turnaround, so that you can get through there without braking. You should be, so like you have pointer cone, you're kind of like straight lining. You need to be like pulling in and then backsiding. If you notice, like when I would do it, I never braked in there. So you're sort of like going point to point. You want to go wider here so that your arc is putting you there when you're actually kind of ending up, I don't know, like if this is the cone and you're coming from this direction, you want to sort of arc it so that you're coming back here. You're sort of going right at it and like apexing it here, which is pushing you.
Okay.
And it just like gets worse. That's what ends up biting you, is like each cone you get further and further away.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that's where all your time is.
Okay.
Also, I don't think you need to brake when you go. It's kind of iffy, but when you do the first little angled slalom and then you do the little two-cone, I don't know that you need to brake there.
Well, my GoPro messed up, of course, and I didn't get my fifth lap, but it was a 60 something. It wasn't amazing. I was super loose, and I'm not sure why, but all right. That concludes it for the day. Gonna go park my car, and then we get to go stand out on course and pick up cones for other people who hit them. That's the other part of Autocross, is it is entirely run by the people who come here, so we got to do our part. Looks like there's some fairly dark clouds rolling in. That should be interesting. Might cool us off though, because I am dying. It's like 89, I think. Not a great time. So that's Autocross. It's one of the cheapest motorsports out there outside of drag racing. You get to do a bit of lefty-righty, you get to hang out with some people, fry yourself in the sun. But it's a good, really technical test of driving ability. It's really shaving and looking for that extra little bit, and it'll make your car that you thought was really sharp and nice on the highway feel like an absolute pile of garbage that is super mushy and terrible, and I'm not salty. That's Autocross. I'm Jake. Thanks for watching.